What's up, YouTube? Thank you for joining me once again. Thank you for clicking on that thumbnail and being here with me, guys. I put out a video yesterday, and the support I got in the comment section of that video was absolutely amazing, so thank you so much, guys. And if you've been with me for a long time, go ahead and hit that like button from now and get that trend started for me. But if you're new, don't do it. Just sit back, relax, consider subscribing or hitting the like if you like what you hear and see. Now, let me ask you this, guys. How can Manchester United be one of the healthiest clubs in world football financially, but at the same time, be playing some of the worst football we've seen in decades? That's the contradiction we're living in right now. And it's the big question I want to answer in this video, but also we're going to talk a lot about the Chelsea game and other things. So stick with me, because today we'll break down the financial report and how it shows that United are in a strong place off the pitch. We'll preview this Saturday's massive game against Chelsea, which is just around the corner, and expose exactly where Chelsea are strong and where they're vulnerable. And we'll talk about the pressure on Ruben Amorim's job a little bit. And then at the very end, we'll circle back to that big question. What does it all mean for United's future? Can financial health alone save us if we keep losing on the pitch? So first, let's discuss the numbers. United just announced record revenues around £666 million. Yeah, the Red Devils turned over £666 million. Kind of creepy, but it's also cool. The losses have also shrunk drastically compared to the year before, down to about £33 million from £100 million. This is as I predicted a long time ago when Ineos first took over the club. Back then, last year, I was making videos about Ineos talking about how they have a reputation for cutting expenses dramatically every time they take over a business. It's something they have a proven track record in accomplishing. But I will give them credit here, because cutting the losses by over 65% in a year where we have no European football is a really big achievement. At the same time, though, I have to say that a lot of hard-working, good people lost their jobs to make that happen, and I understand that sacrifices had to be made, and I'm sure it wasn't easy for a lot of people. The wages have been cut by about 14%, operating costs trimmed down, and the overall accounts say we're in a strong position. That's the kind of financial report that should have fans smiling. Money is coming in, debt is being controlled, and it's giving us the belief that there will be money available in January, and that is a big key. But here's the contradiction. Off the pitch, we're thriving, while on the pitch, we just had our worst league finish in the Premier League era. 15th place. Outplayed, outscored, outclassed. It's like looking at a shiny sports car in the garage, but when you turn the key, the engine barely starts. I made videos last year when Ineos first came in, and I told you that they will be cutting expenses and making us financially stronger, but I also told you that their track record in sports, and especially football, is not great, and I'm worried. We'll talk more on their recruitment decisions a little bit later. The first thing that they're going to have to decide before January is whether or not they're going to keep moving with Ruben Amarim at the helm. With results not going in our favor lately, he's definitely under fire, and our next opponent is Chelsea. I had to tell you this, but just like I said before the Man City derby match, when I told you City could win, and I told you that although they were below us in the table, that they were a giant ready to wake up and make a run up the table, I'm telling you now that Chelsea's squad is estimated to be worth somewhere between 1.02 to 1.3 billion pounds. Guys, UEFA reported Chelsea's 2024 squad was the most expensive ever assembled in Europe at 1.66 billion euros. They have players of high quality all over their roster. We may have one or two, maybe even three players that can get in their starting 11, maybe. United's squad is valuable too. I'm not saying we're cheap, but not as much as Chelsea's. And also, we have to remember that Chelsea's depth is frightening. They can rotate without losing quality. They have options on the bench that most clubs can only dream of. That alone gives them the edge, yet if we lose again or even draw, I guarantee you the Amarim out brigade is going to come out in full force. What I'm about to say next is just simple logic. Yes, a manager being of high quality can win some games against a better built team, but that's not the norm, even for the best managers in the world. Statistically, the squad with the better players are going to win against a squad with less players of high quality. That's just the truth. At the end of the day, it's the players who have to be up for the fight and making good decisions in the situations they find themselves in and working at a higher rate than their counterparts. Please understand that I do think we can win, but like I said, our players have to work at a higher rate than their counterparts. Think about what that means. Not only do I worry about Chelsea's expensive squad, but their midfield is run with two of the most aggressive and hardest working players in Enzo and Caicedo. We need to match their intensity. It's not going to be easy, and I'm sure if you come to my watch along, you're going to hear me yelling and screaming at the screen if I catch our players walking or being lazy in that game tomorrow. I want to break this down tactically too and talk a little bit about how this game should go if we are going to try and win this one. First, I actually do think that Maresca's system is starting to click a little bit. They got players who actually fit his style of play, especially in midfield, and when it works, it's suffocating. That also makes them heavy favorites going into this match because sometimes our players make really bad decisions in tight spaces. But there's good news. Chelsea are not perfect. They've shown cracks this season. When teams press them high, they can lose the ball in dangerous areas. And unlike City's midfielders, Chelsea's midfielders do make mistakes on the ball, so we shouldn't allow them time or space. Also, when their fullbacks push forward, they leave space behind, and this is when transitions into Mbumo come into play. Brentford exposed them in a 2-2 draw by hitting them on transitions and forcing them to make mistakes. They can be vulnerable if you have the pace to counter and the bravery to press. The good news is the stats show that we have one of the best presses in the league. We're going to need that to work tomorrow. We have to play without fear, press high and early, disrupt their buildup, and force them to make errors, hit them with pace on the break. And we have to be ruthless from set pieces, guys. The Premier League is becoming a league where set plays and set play goals are becoming even more important because open play goals are becoming very hard to come by. If United are organized defensively and sharp going forward, Chelsea are beatable. But if we sit deep and give them time on the ball and allow them to control the midfield, it's going to be a long night. And that brings us to Ruben Amorim. His style of play is actually perfect for this game, if it's executed correctly. But let's be honest, the pressure on him is intense. He has to pick a disciplined 11 tomorrow. He has to set us up to press where Chelsea are weak while protecting our shaky defense. He has to be brave with his choices, but smart enough not to get exposed. Even I'm confused as to what starting 11 I would pick. And unfortunately, guys, even if we get a result, the truth is clear. This squad still needs help. I'm going to say it again. This January, we need at least two signings. One defensively strong midfielder who can also advance the ball and be reliable in possession, and a wing-back who can stretch defenses and deliver assists and goals. And these signings can't be projects. They must be ready-made, reliable, and mentally strong. Look, financially, United can afford them. But the question is whether the club identifies the right profiles or wastes another window. One of my biggest concerns of this last summer is why did we not go in for Donnarumma? We needed a goalkeeper and he may be the best in the world and he was available. That just doesn't make sense to me. You don't go for a young prospect for such an important position when the best in the world is available and then he ends up next door at your rival's house. So he was like obviously okay to live in Manchester. I had a similar feeling last January when it sounded like we had the chance to sign Nuno Mendes and ended up with Dorgu. Mendes is obviously the superior player. The summer before that, we signed Ugarte when Joao Neves was willing and available to join us, and now we wish we had a player who can cover the amount of ground Joao Neves covers while still being able to advance the ball in possession like he does. These recruitment mistakes are costing us a lot more than a manager and his tactics. I don't think we have a reliable data analytics team or software that is helping us make good choices, and I think we are still doing too much recruitment based on old school methods, which may be in large part based on a scout's opinion and someone's eye for talent. This has to end. We need major investment in data teams and software engineers. We need AI-driven programs that watch games, track players, and analyze every movement decision, and action of each player on the field. Humans can't do that. It needs to be done by AI and computers, and then the humans make sense of the data and decide how to use it. So let's come back to the question we started with. How can Manchester United be so financially strong, yet so weak on the pitch? The answer is that money doesn't win matches, decisions do. The financial report shows we have the resources. Whether we win or lose to Chelsea, that match shouldn't change the plans just yet. And January will show whether the board has the courage and desire to back the club properly. Chelsea are favorites on Saturday. That's a fact, guys. They have the bigger squad, the deeper bench, the more established tactical system, but United still have a chance. We can win if we press them, if we run hard, if we hit them on the break. And the two most important things on Saturday will be if we show the fight that has been missing for too long, and if we don't make stupid decisions in possession. Financial health is great, but it's not enough by itself to win football matches. And now that we know we are financially healthy, hopefully the fans will put more pressure on the board to spend rather than making the narrative about the manager and his tactics. Because the next manager will also need better players than the ones we have. Even if we were to sack Amarim, we're going to need this done. Okay, so now I'm curious about your opinion. So let me put it to you. What players do you think United should sign in January to survive this season? And do you still back Amarim, or is his time up in your opinion? Drop your thoughts in the comments, man. Everybody's comments are welcome. I'm also curious to know that if you would be okay with an ultra-safe playing style where we start in a mid to low block and then counter and win 60% of our games at a 1-0 scoreline. For me, that's just not acceptable. It's not the reason why I fell in love with Manchester United. I want to be playing front foot football. I don't want to tell players to play a certain way and then bring in two more players and then tell them, okay, now we're going to play differently, because that just kind of confuses players. That's what's been happening in our squad and our roster for far too long. That's just been our philosophy for far too long. We've confused players. We've told them to sit back and then counter. And then after we bring in 2 or 3 players, we go, okay, now we're going to start playing front foot football. And then they're confused as to like what they're supposed to do. They make stupid decisions because we keep changing their playing style. And that's why I have a problem with people who want Amarim to change and do something different. Although I understand where the frustration comes from, because it's not fun being a fan of a team that just loses as many games as we've been losing. Guys, that's it for today, man. I hope you guys join me for the watch along tomorrow. I really hope to see you guys there, and I really hope we win the game. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer here. I'm not trying to be negative. This wasn't negative. This is just facts, okay? We can win the game, but I told you guys what needs to happen for us to win the game. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Please hit that like or subscribe if you're still here. Hit that like button, man. It really helps me out a lot. And there's more videos coming in the future. There's a membership that I'm going to start. I'm going to start making member videos very often too. So look out for that. That's coming very, very soon. It's probably in the next 10 days to 2 weeks. Okay, so I'll see you soon. And the members will be able to vote on what video they want me to make for them. I'll have like 3 options, and you guys can vote. And then I'll also take suggestions with. We're starting a Discord too, so that we can have an open dialogue and a conversation, so we can talk about those things. Thank you so much. I gotta go, but I will see you tomorrow. Bye.